Straight ahead on this digital edition of the News at 5, the Alec Murdaugh case back in court, and the crowds followed. People coming to the Midlands from all across the region to see what a judge determined in that high-profile murder case. Plus, a helping hand, a massive fire over the weekend, damaging several homes in Northeast Columbia, one a total loss, and a piece of the victim's past stepping in to help. The News at 5 starts now.
Live from the Fox studios in Columbia, it's Watch Fox News at 5 Local First.
Thanks for tuning into this digital edition of the News at 5. I'm Brian McConkey. Today, marking the first time Alec Murdaugh was in court since the state Supreme Court overturned his double murder conviction due to the former clerk of court in Colleton County influencing the jury during his murder trial back in 2023. The Low Country murder case grabbed the state's and country's attention. And now part two set to unfold as a judge has set a retrial date. Mel Orleans from our sister station was in Lexington County where that hearing played out this morning.
Alec Murdaugh entering this courtroom today, appearing stone cold, but smiling to a few folks we believe he knew in the front row. The defense not holding back, claiming there's new evidence after they filed a flurry of motions ahead of today's hearing. Judge McCaslin refrained from ruling on several motions, like a third-party analysis of DNA and moving the trial to another location. But she did give the prosecution and defense things to sort out ahead of the next hearing. The judge ordered the two sides to meet to decide potential trial locations. The defense argues the case should be moved out of Colleton County, citing how difficult it would be to find a fair and impartial jury. The judge also ordered the defense to determine whether there's a large enough DNA sample found under his wife Maggie's fingernail and how long it might take to analyze this evidence. State police determined the DNA was not Alec Murdaugh's. The defense says technology has improved since the crime and they believe they could pinpoint who it belongs to.
What we're asking for didn't really exist in 2021. It does exist today, and Othram is the leading lab that performs this analysis. That they cleared 200 cold cases on behalf of law enforcement around the United States and the country.
As for the motion on whether Murdaugh will be given a laptop to review evidence, the judge said she won't allow it, but would entertain allowing Murdaugh to download information on an iPad. As for Murdaugh, he'll continue to appear for those pretrial hearings in his orange prison jumpsuit. The next pretrial hearing is scheduled for August 14th in Lexington County. Reporting from Lexington County, I'm Mel Orleans.
Well, the Murdaugh case, of course, picking up plenty of national attention, making its way to podcasts, documentaries, and talk shows in the last few years. It opened the case up to many, and today protesters and onlookers deciding to come follow the case in person. Our Kiana Jordan there at the Lexington County Courthouse and talked to some who say they just had to be there today.
Monday morning, the courtroom not just filled with lawyers and journalists, but also people traveling more than an hour to see for themselves one of South Carolina's most closely followed murder cases.
I'm going to get there and I'm going to get in that courtroom if it's the last thing I do.
The former attorney Alec Murdaugh back in court nearly 3 years after being convicted of murdering his wife Maggie and son Paul. In May, the state Supreme Court overturned that conviction over jury tampering concerns.
I don't want to see nobody in jail without a fair trial.
Judge Deborah McCaslin scheduled the retrial for April 5th, 2027, with no details about where the trial will be and whether additional DNA testing will move forward. But outside the legal arguments, many saying they simply wanted to witness the next chapter in a case they followed for years.
I do believe that he's guilty. I mean, that's just my personal belief. However, if they have new evidence that exonerates him, the DNA evidence that they really talked about a lot today, I'm willing to listen to it.
Others focusing on what caused the overturned conviction.
Deplorable. I mean, what the clerk did in that Low Country that's just not right.
Some people, including Tiffany Smith, hoping to get answers.
It's an interesting case. There's so many unanswered questions and stuff. So where was he at? The phone, just that type of stuff. Yeah.
At one point, Murdaugh's attorney references his client's chained hands and feet, saying he isn't a serial killer. Spectators saying he is still a criminal.
But you're a serial thief. So that's why you're in chains.
Now, with a retired date set, the case is expected to pick up more attention and momentum. In Lexington County, I'm Kiana Jordan. Watch Fox News, Local First.
Well, mother and daughter in Richland County tonight facing charges in a deadly shootout in the Summit neighborhood that was caught on camera earlier this year. Authorities say hours after the shooting, 46-year-old Alicia Magwood and 17-year-old Arrington Jones helped drive 18-year-old Syrian Buford to the scene of the shooting to look for a bag of guns. The next day, Magwood and Jones brought Buford to the Richland County Sheriff's Department to turn himself in, and that's when authorities say they found drugs and the bag of stolen guns in the car. Now, Magwood and Jones have been booked into the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center after turning themselves in today. Now, Buford faces several charges in the case, including the attempted murder of 3 Richland County deputies. This is the frightening body cam you just saw from that night. Authorities say the incident started as a drive-by shooting and led to more shootings and retaliation. A 16-year-old and a 19-year-old also facing attempted murder charges in the case. Deputies are still looking for one more person in this case. 21-year-old Ty J. Miller. That's his picture on your screen now. He's considered armed and dangerous. And a massive fire this past weekend in northeast Columbia, spreading to 3 homes on Saturday. The house where the fire started has been determined a total loss, while the 2 other homes did suffer some significant damage. And right now, a voice from one of the fire victims' past is stepping up to help. Our Mike White is following that story tonight. Now, you talked to one of the homeowners this afternoon. What'd you find out?
Yeah, Brian, Doris Nixon was the one who owns the home where the fire started. And when I spoke to her this afternoon, she obviously was very emotional. What started off as a typical Saturday turned into tragedy for Nixon as she was just sitting on her porch when she was being bothered by a bunch of mosquitoes. That's when she lit a mosquito candle in response and headed back inside. And that's when problems began. The video you're looking at is Columbia fire crews putting out a massive blaze on Bradford Ridge Lane Saturday afternoon. Doris Nixon owns the on Bradford Ridge Lane where the flames started, speaking with WACH FOX News Monday about the moment everything unfolded.
I ran back in to get my keys, but it was so hot and the smoke was so thick that I couldn't stay in there, so I came back out and oh God, I watched my house go up in flames and smoke.
Investigators say a mosquito candle sparked the fire, which Nixon says she made sure was in a safe place. Once she noticed the flames, Nixon says she immediately ran to get water, but the water wasn't coming out fast enough, and the flames were moving too fast. Lost in the fire, memories of Nixon's late husband.
My neighbor came, and he was trying to pick me up and take me away from the house, but somewhere I got away from him, and I was trying to go back to get at least something that was my husband's, but I couldn't do it.
A Good Samaritan has now come into the picture to help. Malcolm Wilson, a former student of Nixon's, setting up a GoFundMe on Sunday to raise money to help her.
My grandmother lost her house in a house fire on Christmas Eve, and so I've just heard the stories about how devastating that can be for a family, and so I wanted to not just sit beside it and do nothing.
2 other homes suffering damage as well. The one to the left seeing interior damage, while the one to the right was only damaged on the outside. Columbia Fire Chief Aubrey Jenkins pointing out the limited distance in between homes and mentioning dangers that have come from previous incidents in that area.
We've gone to several fires out in that area where the houses are pretty close to one another. And very seldom do we get away with just one house burning, normally if it's built that close.
Now, Nixon tells me that as of right now, she does not have any clothes or shoes, and she's just has her 2 dogs and living with her daughter. If you're interested in donating to the GoFundMe, there will be a link on our website, watch.com. Reporting in Columbia, Mike White, WACH FOX News Local First.
Thank you, Mike. Now, in Lexington County, a man is dead tonight after he was hit by a car while riding his moped. The coroner says 40-year-old Russell Fowler died in that crash. It happened Saturday night just before 9:30 on Cox Ferry Road and Old Charleston Road. Authorities say Fowler was not wearing a helmet and died at the scene. The driver and passenger in the car were not injured. The Highway Patrol and the coroner's office still investigating the crash. Also in Lexington County, a 21-year-old motorcyclist is dead after hitting a concrete barrier. Coroner saying Pablo Molina was riding on I-77 near mile marker 1 when he hit the barrier and was thrown off the motorcycle. He also pronounced dead at the scene. The Highway Patrol and Coroner's Office still investigating that crash as well. And in Clarendon County, a driver is dead after hitting a tree. That crash happened just after midnight this morning on I-95 near mile marker 132. The car went off the road. Authorities say a passenger in the car was taken to the hospital. No word on their condition. So we'll continue to push for the very latest developments on those stories and everything we cover for you each and every day here at Watch Fox News. And when we know, you can know. Get the latest updates sent right to your phone. All you need to do is get the Watch Fox News app. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now to do it, or go straight to the website, wach.com.
Well, the big story throughout this week is going to be the continuation of the high heat that we experienced to some extent over this weekend and continuing today. Forecast highs will continue to at least be in the mid-90s, may climb to the upper 90s, and for a few spots even the triple digits at points later this week and as we approach the 4th of July holiday. And with that heat comes very little rain and a lot of sunshine. Usually this time of the year, rain is the one thing that can help cool us off, but there's not much of that in the cards for us this week. It's not just South Carolina, but pretty much the entire eastern half of the country dealing with high heat. Heat advisories in orange, extreme heat warnings in pink, stretch from Florida all the way up to Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. So a widespread heat wave across the eastern half of the country, and it's due to this sprawling area of high pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere leading to hot conditions. Not much is going to change tomorrow. We'll begin the day in the 70s, warming up to the 90s during the afternoon. Consistent highs in the mid-90s expected Tuesday through Thursday. And then it gets even hotter for the 4th. A closer look at just how hot it's expected to get as we head into the holiday weekend coming your way in just a little bit.
Well, time now to highlight the everyday heroes we see all around us in the place we call home. This week's Pay It Forward winner is Mike Young, the founder of More Time for Dogs. It's a Facebook page that's set up to help shelter dogs through foster, rescue, and networking. He's an dog advocate who works and volunteers much of his free time making videos of animals who are on what shelters call the Go Viral and Attain a Foster Home list. Bralise Pimentel shows you how we're paying it forward.
Well, hi, Mike. My name is Bralise Pimentel. I work here at WACH FOX, and I know we're here to talk about More Time for Dogs, her Facebook page to help friendly, furry pets like the one that you have in your hand. But you've actually been nominated and selected as our Pay It Forward winner this week, sponsored by the Jeff Coat Law Firm, where we highlight everyday heroes for all the good they do. And on behalf of the Jeff Coat Law Firm, we're going to be giving you $500 cash today so you can continue to help animals and all the good that you do for dogs in the Midlands. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. This is amazing. We appreciate you guys. Y'all are outstanding. Thank you.
No problem. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing with More Time for Dogs, and especially about our friend here today.
Sure. So More Time for Dogs was a volunteer-run initiative to help highlight some of the dogs at Columbia Animal Services. And they didn't have a very big social media presence at the time, so we started doing pictures, bios, doggy day outs, and then it just took hold where everybody started doing them. And it's evolved into a opportunity to take dogs out for foster, like Mr. Wrinkley, and we have now been able to we're in the process of forming a Toastmasters group for animal advocacy. So we can network with people from throughout the country on animal advocacy issues. So it's been fantastic.
Awesome. That's awesome. And Mr. Wrinkley, is such a pleasure to have you here today. He's been such a joy. And I know that you were telling us a little bit about his background.
He's so friendly. He loves people. He's very treat motivated, house trained, crate trained, loves road trips, and just all around great dog.
Mr. Wrinkley is definitely friendly. The tail is wagging for sure. Well, congratulations. Let's see that cash one more time. Yeah, look, Mr. Wrinkley.
That buys a lot of tacos, buddy.
Well, if you'd like to nominate our next Pay It Forward, you can visit our website at watch.com.
All right, good stuff right there. You probably know someone doing some nice things like that as well. Hey, maybe you can nominate them. They could be the next Pay It Forward recipient. Here's how you do it. Scan that QR code right there on your screen. We made it pretty easy, brings you right to the nomination form, so maybe someone you know can get recognized here as well and get some cash to keep their mission going. Go to our website also at wach.com. And last Friday, Governor Henry McMaster presenting the state's highest civilian honor to retired Army Command Sergeant Major Lamont Christian. McMaster bestowing the Order of the Palmetto on Christian for his lifetime of service to veterans, first responders, and military families. Now, after he retired from the Army in 2018, following a 33-year career, Christian joined the Big Red Barn Retreat in Blythewood, where he helps lead programs that support veterans, active duty service members, first responders. The Order of the Palmetto, of course, honors citizens in this state who have made some lasting contributions and impactful ones in South Carolina. Well done, sir.
Yet again, a hot day for us across the Midlands. Pretty typical for late June standards, and we will not get a ton of relief tonight. 75 our forecast low. Mostly clear, staying dry, certainly warm overnight, and that sets the stage for another pretty hot day for us. Nothing extreme, but high temperatures will be around the low and mid 90s on Tuesday afternoon. Slightly lower humidity comes our way tomorrow, so we may stay just shy of triple digits for those feels-like temperatures, but heat index still reaching the upper 90s can be expected tomorrow. Meanwhile, just offshore, we have this area of low pressure that has a low chance of becoming a tropical system, but that will not impact us here in South Carolina. It is drifting southward. It could take a turn westward toward Florida later this week, but again, the odds of that becoming something we have to worry about are very, very low. The cold front that was associated with that is bringing in some slightly drier air, and with that will come limited chances at rain over the next few days. For Tuesday, a chance at a couple pop-up showers during the afternoon, but as you can see, there's not much to it on Future Watch. Most of us get through the day tomorrow without any rainfall, and that's likely going to continue to be our theme as we head through the rest of this week. A quiet end to June and a quiet start to July as far as the rain is concerned. And for the next 5 days, much of the Midlands goes completely dry. It's going to be the low country to upstate that has just a slight chance at a little bit of rain this week, but even there, not too much. By far our main story the next several days is going to be the heat. Forecast highs highlighted in red. The pink bars are the forecast peak heat index values. So peak heat index numbers will be near 100 to Tuesday through Thursday. Bump up to the 103 to 105 range on Friday and Saturday, and our actual highs will be near 100 on July 3rd and on the 4th of July. In fact, 100 is our forecast high for Independence Day on Saturday, and again, a peak heat index around 105. Now, if you have any outdoor plans, the good news is it will likely be dry, but it's certainly going to be hot as well, so make sure you're staying hydrated. Our record high for the 4th of July is 102, set back in 1948. If we do get to triple-digit heat on Saturday, it would be the first time we've had that type of heat in Columbia on the 4th since back in 2016. It's nothing but highs in the mid-90s to low 100s on the 10-day forecast. We bring back at least a chance at some scattered showers and storms starting next Sunday, and that will likely be a daily threat continuing through the first half of next week.
Coming up on a late edition of the News at 10, after the World Cup, the president saying Iran and the U.S. will have fresh talks this week in Qatar. This will mark a breakthrough in tensions, or will military strikes continue in and near the Strait of Hormuz? Key question they'll be addressing. We'll talk more about this tonight on that late edition of the News at 10 after the World Cup. And coming up tonight after the Sports Zone here on Watch Fox, here's what you can expect from the National News Desk with Dee Dee Gatton.
I'm Dee Dee Gatton with the National News Desk in Washington, D.C., and this is your news update.
You're our brothers. You are our sisters. You have done so much for this incredible city, and for that, we stand with you.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey is standing by the city's Somali community as fraud allegations linked to the Somali community in Minnesota mount. Officials say a suspected leader of the $250 million Feeding Our Future Minnesota fraud scheme was arrested in Somalia last week. It comes as a congressional report claims Minnesota officials failed to respond to warnings about widespread fraud. China-based tech entrepreneur Neville Roy Singham is under investigation for alleged financial crimes. A federal grand jury in Manhattan subpoenaed bank records from organizations Singham funded. According to Fox News Digital, Singham funneled hundreds of millions of dollars into shell companies and a Goldman Sachs philanthropic fund that then pumped the money into leftist groups in the U.S. The Supreme Court is letting Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook stay at the Fed. In a 5-4 ruling, the justices rejected President Trump's efforts to immediately fire Cook over mortgage fraud allegations that she denies. Cook said she's grateful for the decision, while Trump said he would take immediate action in response. And that's your news update.
You can find out more and stay up to date on national headlines by watching the National News Desk right here on Watch Fox 57 after the Sports Zone. Well, summer months are a very key time for students when they are out of class because those school meals also can disappear. That's when people have to step in. So Watch Fox 57 is teaming up with the Feeding America for the Sinclair Care Summer Hunger Relief Program. And together we are trying to get as many fresh, nutritious meals to as many children as we can all summer long. And you can be part of the effort if you would like. You can scan a QR code that we're putting on the screen right now to give whatever amount you feel is suitable. And it doesn't take a lot. Here's why, because just $1 provides up to 10 meals for families right here in this community. The money stays at home.
Here's a final check of the 10-day forecast. A lot of heat and not a whole lot of rain this week. We stay in the mid-90s for highs on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll bump those numbers up to the upper 90s Thursday and Friday, and then a high of 100 degrees on Saturday. Friday and Saturday forecast to be the hottest of the bunch with peak heat index numbers that could be as high as 105. So those 2 days are weather-worn days for the dangerous heat. Please stay hydrated. Save the strenuous activities for the mornings or the evenings, and make sure you're getting plenty of breaks in the AC during this hot stretch of weather coming our way.
He's not kidding. Weather-worn days sitting ahead there for the holiday weekend. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this digital edition of the News at 5. We will see you tonight. Later, though, for the News at 10, we'll see you after the World Cup.
This is my